we ask about LSU still? How was that second half just in terms of where you want this team to be, where they can be, expectations being met?
I mean, it was a 31-0 run. It was really good, and just that they're all grateful for the win. Just made some uncharacteristic mistakes early, just with penalties and kind of playing a little bit instinctual, or had sloppy eyes early, but just the responses throughout the game were impressive for the guys, whether it was goal line or fourth down. So, excited for the guys and how they played.
In general, how did you think the D-line played, especially against what's considered a pretty good LSU front?
We were impactful. We were impactful in short yardage situations. When it became, once we were able to kind of get in the mode of, listen, these are the run sets, these are the pass sets, and they were able to tee off a little bit, they were really impactful. And it's our job to give them the keys and the work. And we got really good players, and I thought they really did a good job. I thought it was multiple people. Obviously Jared was impactful, but Pat, Malcolm Ray, Dennis Briggs, Braden Fisk, Josh Farmer, there were a lot of different pieces there that made impacts.
How much did it help being able to keep rep counts down for those guys and kind of keep them fresh and rotate?
It's part of how we want to play, and it's like that in the secondary too, and at linebacker. I think we were probably in the mid-60s in that game as far as plays. Some of that was our fault, just giving up some penalty yards, giving them some free plays. But the second half was more the way you want to play, but still not super clean. We still got to be better.
You've talked a lot about Josh being one of your most improved guys on the defense this season. How nice is it to see him go out and kind of validate that in game one?
Yeah, I mean, he's shown it for me, and I trust him, and he's one of our better players in the interior, and it's important to have him out there. It was good to see him get a sack and make that play behind the line of scrimmage. But Josh he's an improved player.
What did the film tell you about the linebacker play on Sunday night? Who stood out to you?
I think early on our eyes weren't very good, and I think just you try to have intensity in practice and you try to replicate that. And obviously we kicked the ball off to start the game, and just a misdirection play, and your eyes are in the wrong place, and you got to pay. But what I loved about our guys is, it wasn't next series; it was truly next play. And I think they exemplified that. And we actually had a penalty and gave them more plays down there, but our guys battled, and it's kind of what our program's about. We don't want it to happen that way, but I thought the response throughout the game was really impressive.
Tackling's tough to practice in the preseason because the way you go about it. How was it in game one? How much do you expect them to step forward in game two?
They got some good players, but our fundamentals are where we can get better. I thought we left our feet a couple too many times, but the quarterback's a good ball carrier. I thought we had 3 on him in one play. That a play get out on one of his quarterback draws. So, but overall, I mean, it's a constant improvement. I think the things that we got to hang our hat on are our pursuit, effort, and tackling, and then how we attack the football. I thought there were a couple times that the ball almost got out that we were pretty aggressive around it. So we just got to continue that.
It's 2 years in a row they had it all, everything, wide receiver, and I know they have to do more than just cover as a cornerback for you, but just what Bernardo can do for you guys on the
Yeah, I mean, that was part of that first series, that first drive. We gave them a look. They create a one-on-one, and it's our guy against their guy, and our guy won twice. And so that's really impressive. Some offenses always talk about trying to create one-on-ones. Sometimes we're okay having one-on-ones too.
The 2 stands in the first half, especially the second one where you got 4 guys I think around him making the play. Is that one of your favorite things to see?
Yeah, I think like we said, Grant, just the response, Kurt, in that moment of whether it was 4th and goal or 4th and 1, in the shadow of our end zone. I mean, those are critical times. We talked about the history of playing great defense, and that comes in all shapes and sizes. But for sure, 4th down stops are takeaways. 4th down stops are momentum builders, especially when they put it in the hands of their best player and we can make the play. And so those were great situations for us and good football.
We talked about it a little bit, but there's composure. How would you assess the composure that you saw from this group?
Much better once we got them to calm down. I mean, we had some uncharacteristic sideline plays, some late hits, and the flags are on the ground. It's our fault, and so we just got to go on to the next play and learn from that. But we gave them plus 45 yards, in just free yardage to move the ball, and so that makes it harder on you. And we're better than that. We're smarter than that. We train them smarter than that. Our guys usually respond better than that, and we've got to be better in those moments this week.
Coach Norvell talked about Kevin, how he was a little limited in adapting to the new role in fall camp, but was able to get out there a little. I guess, what have you seen from him? And even when he can't be out there, how valuable is he?
You know, there's a couple guys that were a little bit banged up in camp, but they built so much trust with me and our staff. You know, and Kevin's one of those guys. And as long as he tells me he feels that he can go, I'm going to play him because I trust him. You know, I trust what he stands for. I trust his ability. I trust his playmaking. I trust that he has our team in the best interest. And, you know, Sunday probably wasn't his best game, but it was the most he's ever played safety for us. But today was probably one of his better practices he's had this year. And so that's who he is.
Tatum said he and DJ have been more committed to their diet, just all the things I'm sure you guys are on them about. What is that doing for them and for him in particular?
I think it's easier to practice harder, longer, you know, just to be more fit. I think we're for sure seeing it with DJ Lundy. You know, Tatum, you know, they're doing a good job just in the morning routines of breakfast and things. And I know it seems common sense, but you know, little things do make big changes, and I think that's a big deal with DJ Lundy. I think we're really seeing that. You know, and Tatum's obviously trying to help him along. I know Kalen's tried to invest in that as well. So I think it's a chain effect with that group.
You know, I know it's early in the year and nobody's healthy late in the year. How much fun is it to see Tatum looking like, you know?
Yeah, one of Tatum's better games last year was LSU. You know, and so it's our job to help drive him and push him to play at that level Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And he wants to. There's zero pushback with Tatum Bethune. He's a leader. He's a Seminole in all sense and purpose. It's just, you know, human nature kicks in sometimes. We got to help push through that with him because he's a very effective player, and you know, he's somebody we count on.
Fans love to see big hits. Do you guys like to watch those in the film room too, like what Tatum did?
I like to watch the legal ones, you know, and that was legal. You know, and what goes up must come down. You know, and Tatum did a good job.
What stands out about Frank Gore Jr. when you're watching Southern Miss film?
He's a good player. Remember when we were at Memphis, he came over to visit us, and you know, they definitely get their money out of him. You know, they use him in all different ways, and he's a make you miss, breaks tackles, can catch the ball. Will line up at quarterback probably 10 plays a game, and just, you know, he's a really good player. He's definitely somebody they feature.
I'm sure, I mean, that first play couldn't be about as bad as you hope to see, but how did the guys respond to that?
Yeah, I had kind of addressed that earlier. It just, the proudest thing was just the responses in the bad moments, whether it was penalties, whether it was just, you know, first play of the game, poor eyes, right? And, you know, if they would have handed the ball off on that play, we probably would have tackled the guys with 11 people. That was the problem. You know what I mean? And just, you know, just we got over anxious, and, you know, but what I loved about it wasn't next series, it was next play. And, you know, and that happened on that drive. Play got given up. We got them a second or third down, and then they called the penalty as we were running the quarterback backwards, so we had to restart it over. And Duda stepped up twice, had 2 one-on-one plays. We finished with a sack to finish that thing off. So, you know, not perfect at all, but definitely great response to that first play. That was not our proudest moment.
You talked about legal hits. I guess there were some of the penalties in the first half, so it seems a little questionable maybe. I'm not trying to get you to talk about them. Are all penalties the same to you in that circumstance, or are there some where you might tell a guy, I don't think what you did is that wrong?
No, I mean, there's you know, Bernardo Green had a PI with his hands were a little bit high and bang bang play. That's different than hitting a guy out of bounds. You know, there's focus penalties, and then there's fundamental. You know, and you can coach the fundamentals. It's the ones that, you know, the late ball fouls, the things that are more, you know, where you don't play with great poise. You know, those are the ones that we address a little bit more aggressively, and you know, definitely, you know, yards are important, and we don't want to give free ones.